Welcome to Golf Smarter Mulligans, your second chance to gain insight and advice from the best instructors featured on the Golf Smarter podcast. Great golf instruction never gets old. Our interview library features hundreds of hours of game improvement conversations like this that are no longer available in any podcast app.
If you watch the pros, the one thing that stands out all the time in the pros' golf swings is their balance. When they're addressing the golf ball, in the dynamic motion of the swing, and at the end of their swing, they're standing there in what my Mexican doctor, Ki golfer, calls posa. They're posing. They're in perfect balance, standing there watching their beautiful shots. The biggest difference between amateurs and professionals is their balance, I would say.
With another interview from the archives of Golf Smarter, here's your host, Fred Green.
Welcome back to the Golf Smarter podcast, Jamie.
Well, thank you, Fred. I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, we missed you.
Oh, thank you. I love talking to you and to all of your wonderful listeners and golfers. They're the best.
Well, actually, that's why they're listening, because they're not the best and they want to get better. That's the whole point of trying to get information from these people so we can all get a little bit better. Find one nugget to make us that much better.
That's kind of the definition of a golfer almost, isn't it?
Yeah. We're really saps. we're chumps. We're suckers. It's really amazing how we'll listen to anybody talk.
I call golfers an amazing slice of humanity, willing to try and to buy just about anything that will help their golf game.
Okay, so you studied psychology at Stanford. Why is this going on?
Well,
why do we do this?
Because, that's a good question. I think that golf truly is, just such a great game. It's mystical, it's spiritual, and it is an amazing challenge to try to get basically what is the smallest ball in sports, outside of maybe a ping pong ball, right? Mm-hmm. And definitely the largest playing field in sports into one of the smallest targets relative to the playing field, right? And we're standing kind of far away from this ball. It's not like it's in our hand like a baseball pitcher. And we have to make this circular motion, and at one point in 360 degrees of a circle, at that moment of impact, with the club head going 60, 80, 100 miles per hour, we've got to square up the club face and launch the ball where we want it to go.
In a fraction of a second.
In a fraction of a second. I mean, it takes, I don't know if you know that from address to the top of your swing back to impact is roughly 1 second. Okay, and then you finish your swing. So a golf swing is really not, it takes less than 2 seconds. And so everything's going so fast, and it's just, and we have to concentrate all of our psychology. I forget how many thoughts we're thinking in a minute. I mean, there's thousands of thoughts going on. We've got emotions, we've got a subconscious and a conscious mind, and then we've got all of our body parts. All of that has to get synced up so that at that one tiny fraction of a second, going at, like, again, 100 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, your average amateur, and to make square impact from a circle. This is tough.
It's really tough. And also we can watch that little ball fly through the air. Because if it rolls along the ground, we're not happy. But if it flies through the air, we're very happy sometimes.
That's true.
Well, actually, happy for a moment. Then it starts going in directions that we had no idea it was intended for. And it's like, where are you going? Wait, come back. Don't do that.
This is both the good and the bad news for golfers, and it's my sports psychologist talking, but the flight of the golf ball, for better or for worse, really is a complete reflection of you. Whether that ball's flying in the air and with a beautiful trajectory and shape to it, or whether it's spinning off in weird directions, isn't getting off the ground, all that is simply a reflection of what you did. It's a principle I call form and flow. How we shaped ourselves, how we formed ourselves is what launches the golf ball. So when you watch the flight of your golf ball, you're looking at yourself out there.
Huh?
What do you think of that?
That's too Stanford heady for me.
It's true, though, and once you understand that, you start paying a little more attention to how you shape yourself, and you also get yourself in better shape, which is partly fitness. It's physical fitness, it's mental fitness. This is why the shape of your swing plane, all that kind of stuff, it's why it's important, because your shot, every shot you make is really you flying out there. But it also means that you should love every shot, no matter what, because no matter what, we've got to love ourselves. I mean, in our better and worst moments. So when we start loving every shot, we start having a much more positive energy.
That's an interesting approach.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I actually kind of like that because I know that there have been times out there that I've either not been happy with myself, whether it be professionally or personally, or other distractions in life going on, as life does, and it's been reflected in my game, and my frustration, my fuse is shorter, not my temper fuse, just my frustration fuse. And it definitely is reflected by the time you spent hopefully walking out on the golf course. That's interesting.
Well, this is where I think a little more psychology in a certain way comes into it, right? If you think of a little kid, right? If you start yelling and screaming at a little kid, what'd you do that for? You dope, you jerk, you're terrible, you'll never be any good. Why'd you do that? And you start beating the kid up, basically, whether it's verbally or even worse. I mean, and that's supposed to like shape the kid up and make the kid do better next time, right? It's sort of the old English model.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Right, and that kind of parenting, that kind of teaching, of sort of yelling at the person and saying, stop it and do this instead and be better next time, like that's supposed to be a motivation. And we've sort of learned that that old sort of corporal punishment way isn't really the greatest method, right, to elicit better performance next time. But if you think about our mental game and our kind of self-talk, for the most part, we beat ourselves up. We treat ourselves like that. When we hit a bad shot, instead of just going, well, having some compassion, some acceptance, as one of my students says, I forgive myself every shot, good or bad.
Good.
Instead of that approach, and also praising ourselves, looking for what we did do well, even when the result wasn't so good, or having a sense of humor and laughing it off and then being able to move on and be present for the next shot, we beat ourselves up. We really do. It's like we take our club and hit ourselves over the head and we say, you jerk, you idiot, how could you? And as if that's supposed to help us be in a better frame of mind and have our muscles and our energy flowing and stay relaxed and make our next great fluid, well-timed, balanced swing. Not going to happen when you're beating yourself up. So we basically kill the ball and we kill ourselves, and we think like that's going to give us the best results.
That's so amazing, because I have the one thing that I can tell you that I've taken with me after doing so many of these interviews for this podcast, and to me it's always been a quest for a personal growth on the golf course, is that I find now that I will laugh at a shot much more often than yell at myself. I always am amused by people who yell at their name. They yell, "Oh, Fred! Oh!" It's like, what do you? Once the ball leaves the club face, it's out of your control, right? There's really not a whole lot you can do there.
Well, absolutely, and I really think that probably the most effective way for people to think about golf psychology, or psychology in general, is the title of a book I once read, which is called "What to Say When You Talk to Yourself." And our psychology really is a lot about what we're saying inside of our heads, right? And what we're saying when we talk to ourselves, what we're saying in between shots, what we're saying when we stand up to the ball inside of ourselves. Like, are we trembling? Are we fearing? Are we worrying? Are we centered? Are we calm? Are we focused? Are we positive? And it's really the quality of, and the content, it boils right down to the content of what we're saying when we talk to ourselves, which is really our golf psychology in action, right? Mm-hmm. So I think if people start paying more attention to, more positive thoughts and honestly, even less thoughts. It's what in the East the masters called mushin, which means no mind. And that's where sort of meditation and centering and breathing and calming yourself so that you actually calm down all of those thoughts. Most of it is all chatter, right? It's the old monkey mind, the chatter that's pretty useless, if not downright negative. So a lot of it is just like throw it out, forget about it, breathe through it, and then just have one or two focused, like a swing thought or something positive you're saying to yourself, and feel your body and let yourself swing. That's going to give a lot better results. The other thing that's really interesting to me is that the shot that you hit is not necessarily a predictor for the next shot you're going to hit.
Absolutely.
Meaning, just because you hit a good shot doesn't mean you're automatically going to hit a good one next time. And it also means just because you hit a bad shot doesn't mean you're automatically going to hit a good one or another bad one, you know?
Right. Or yeah, I mean, the hardest thing in golf is consistency, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, you've got 3 or 4 different games going on with each hole. You've got the long game, the short game, putting.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. It's really all one, right? So, yes, we have those different shots, but the truth is it's just you. There's only one golfer. There's only one you. Yeah. So there's only one of you producing all of these different shots. Agreed?
Yep.
And what really matters the most is not, having a great wedge or a great driver and, all that sort of thing. What matters more is that you are consistent inside yourself. It's really about the golfer. It's about the golfer's own state of being inside. In their sort of body-mind system. And so what the mind is saying, and also the sense of calm and ease and flexibility and balance, all these good physical things that make the difference. So it's really your state of being inside of yourself, because you're the golfer. You're the one person making all those different shots. And so this is the place where I really get into. I get really excited about it. So it makes me the Golf Sensei, right?
Yeah.
Because, so many people are looking outside of themselves all the time for the next magic tip, the next position of their hands or the next generation of golf clubs or the perfectly weighted putter or, all this sort of thing. And I don't mean to knock equipment. You should have good equipment and it should be fitted for you.
Absolutely.
But it's really you who, it's about you. It's your state of being that makes all the difference. So, even on tour, all those players, men and women on tour, are fabulous athletes. They're fabulous golfers. But what makes the difference, right? They all have great golf swings. They all know what they're doing. But there are certain ones who are in better shape physically, mentally, and emotionally, and are more masters of themselves and can manage themselves and manage as the pressure gets more intense in competition. That separates the creme de la creme, right?
Right. In all the times that we've talked together, whether it be on Golf Smarter Tips, we focus with you on the physical aspects with fitness and conditioning and flexibility. And many times when I've had people on who focus on that kind of instruction, I ask them about give me a drill or a tip that you would use to get warmed up before your round of golf. And then during your round of golf. And you and I have covered that kind of stuff. But actually what I'm really curious to ask you is, what do you do, because I know that you play competitively, what do you do emotionally to get yourself psyched up for a round? What do you do before a round of golf, emotionally to get yourself ready? Or do you do anything? Is it just a constant thing?
Some of both.
Okay. Well, hey, I'm here to listen.
Okay.
I want to know.
The constant parts are, I think, it's important all the time to pay attention to sleeping well, to eating well, to staying fit. So those things are important in general. You can't sort of cram your fitness in like a day or two before the event, right? Mm-hmm. So that's important. That's the general thing. Another general thing is that I think I work all the time to be more centered, more calm, more focused, to manage myself every day, right? And emotions come up. It's not like I don't get emotional, or we all get emotional. But I think we have to know how to handle them, right? Because they're going to pop up on the golf course. So that's a daily practice. Now, having said all that, what I do every time I play golf, and it's a routine, right? So that when a tournament comes up, I just go right into that routine. And I actually practice what I teach and preach. I figure that's the best way to do it, right? And if I'm going to try teaching people something, it better work. And that's what I use, and I really do find that it works. So I've developed, for example, a whole warm-up routine of golf exercises. I call them Golf BLISS, balance, lengthen, integrate, stretch, strengthen. and I run through those exercises. And the exercises have built into them centering, focusing, calming, as well as stretching, strengthening, and my actual golf swing motion. So I practice those every day. They get me in shape. They keep me in shape. And when it comes time to go play golf, and whether I'm playing for fun or competitively, I just do my routine, and boom, I'm right there.
So let's go. Let's pick apart bliss. I think it's a fascinating concept.
Well, it really is, and I can't take credit for it. I want to give credit where it's due to a woman named Joanne Kettler here in San Diego. I went to see her when I came to San Diego about 12 years ago, because I had 20 years of chronic back pain. I've separated both my shoulders. I've hurt my ankles, my neck, my wrists. I've been golfing since a young age. I'm an athlete. I've been crashing around in martial arts forever. So I was really injured and hurting. And I was introduced to Joanne, who created Bliss Work, and it's a system of exercises, a little Pilates and yoga-like, but with its own flavor to it. And the exercises are very doable. They don't require any special equipment, and they got me out of 20 years of chronic back pain. They've healed up my shoulders. I've been in perfect shape for 12 years. I went from not being able to play 5 holes of golf to playing 212 holes of golf in 12 hours. I'm a golf marathoner.
212, what?
Yeah, have you ever heard of a golf marathon? 100-hole golf marathon.
I've heard of the 100 holes in a day as a fundraiser type of thing, but
exactly.
But
yep.
200?
Well, the first time I went and played in one of these, and I was fundraising for cystic fibrosis, right? You get per hole pledges, like you would get a per mile pledge in a bike-a-thon or walk-a-thon. 100 holes of golf, I was like, yeah, count me in. Of course, I was the only woman in the field, and I played 167 holes the first time I tried it. And I had a headache that day. I thought, my God, I bet I could play 200 holes. And I figured out it was about 18 holes an hour, and I did 212 holes.
Were you running between?
How
do you get from? Okay, first question: did you ever play 2 balls on 1 hole?
No, but there are. Look, there's a couple ways you can do it. The ones I've done have been the full 26-mile one. Okay, which means tee to green. Full-length regulation course. I mixed up the tees, forward, middle tees, back tees. So I had a different course every time. No practice swings. You have a cart, so you drive, and I drove myself, or students and friends came out, did shifts for a couple hours, and you can drive right up to the green, not on the green, but right up there, and just running on and off the cart and playing, and I hold out every shot. There are golf marathons on par 3s, and you can play 2 balls at once, so you play like 50 holes times 2 on a par 3 course. But this I'm talking about full regulation ones.
All right, I'm sorry, I distracted what we were talking about. Let's get back to Bliss. Wow. Okay.
Well,
Very cool.
Let me tell you this. So I said I've been the only woman in the field, right?
Okay, yeah.
There are anywhere from 20 to 36 players that do these things, and I can remember the first several times. These guys would bring their slippers for dinner because they knew they were going to be aching and crawling in after 100 holes in 12 hours. I would come in cruising in 160, 200 holes, like not a pain in my body, just coming right in and full of energy. And
awesome.
They'd be like, yeah. And I mean, usually older than they are, right? But that's because I do my Bliss Fitness and I pay attention to my energy and I'm in great shape.
Okay, let's talk about Bliss Fitness.
All right, here we go.
Let's break it down.
I'm going to do them letter by letter.
Please, I'll take notes.
B is for balance. And balance is it really governs your golf swing. It's the key to good golf and great golf. Balance, it starts in your center, and your center is in your belly. It's a little bit lower than your belly button. It's called Tantien or Hara in the East. We don't have a word for it, but it's our physical center of gravity. Now, it's located in our belly, which sits in our hips, which sits on top of our legs and our feet. So there's this connection between your center and your base, your legs, your lower body. And that all gets connected when you get centered, and then you have more athletic balance. And we have to make dynamic rotational motion in the golf swing, and we've got to keep that in balance. And when you can do that, you're able to really focus the energy into that little tiny ball so that all your energy goes into the golf ball. It's not, falling off and missing, right? Mm-hmm. So balance is really, really important. And the thing is, you can't talk yourself into it. You've got to have some strength in your pelvic support muscles, your hip flexors, your back muscles. They're called the erector spinae muscles, the ones that hold your back up. And so balance is super important, and having the muscles for it is really important. And I'm going to tell you an exercise afterwards that from Golf BLISS and how to use your golf club to improve your balance, okay?
Yep.
And the other thing about balance is that it sets your timing, your tempo, and your rhythm. Okay? So super important. And if you watch the pros, the one thing that stands out all the time in the pros' golf swings is their balance. When they're addressing the golf ball, in the dynamic motion of the swing, and at the end of their swing, they are standing there in what my Mexican doctor, Ki golfer, calls posa. They're posing. They're in perfect balance, standing there watching their beautiful shots.
Yeah,
so
you definitely notice, even on the Golf Channel, when you're watching amateurs, you'll notice how their finish point is all over the place.
Exactly. The biggest difference between amateurs and professionals is their balance, I would say.
Wow.
So balance is crucial, and again, you've got to have the muscular strength and awareness to have good balance, and you have to be aware of your feet and your footwork, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's balance. Next one, L, lengthen. Lengthen is about lengthening your spine, making more space between your vertebrae. Now, this decompresses your spine so that you feel better. You literally get taller. In Joanne's Bliss classes, we used to have a little place on the wall like little kids where we'd mark our height by inches, mm-hmm. And we'd see adults getting taller. Now,
wow.
How does an adult, I personally gained about a half an inch. The max I saw was somebody get 4.5 inches taller in Bliss. No. I'm not kidding you. Measurable on the wall. Most people a half inch, an inch, even an inch and a half. How does an adult grow?
Right.
Think about it. If you can decompress your spine, most of us get all hunched down, and then and our vertebrae are compressing and things, and that's just life, the weights of life.
Sitting all day,
all these different things. And so when we can start to lengthen the spine, which is done easily by Joanne's brilliant exercises that I adapted to golf, you actually become taller when you lengthen out your spine, and it's actually doable. So that's important. And then when you have a straighter spine angle, you can create better rotational movement.
Sure. That makes total sense.
Yep. Length is also in our swing arc. Now, this is stretching out a lot of our lats, our side muscles, and those are really pretty easy to stretch out, and also loosening up the shoulders. When the muscles in the sides of our body and our shoulders are too tight, what happens is we can't make the extension on our backswing and the extension coming through the hitting zone down the target line on our forward swing. But when those extensions can get longer, it adds swing arc. Now, what swing arc does, think about it, for every, say, more inch or half inch that you can extend better and also get better rotation in your golf swing, every degree of rotation, that ends up as another mile per hour of club head speed, which ends up as a few more yards on your golf shot.
Wow.
Interesting, is it not?
Yeah, very interesting.
It's not complicated. It makes a ton of sense, and it's easily done. And this is where S and stretch comes in, too. Length and stretch. We've got to lengthen out and have more stretch and flexibility. Again,
is the lengthening process, is that part of like hanging upside down or something, or is it just
not at all?
Really?
No. Imagine you could. I have a wonderful exercise. It's really easy. Let's say you hold the club, put your right hand on your golf club, and address.
Let me grab it.
Grab it. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
So you're just holding the club with one hand. You're standing, right, like you're addressing the golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right or left hand? I'm right-handed, so which hand am I holding?
Okay, you can do either one, but we're going to do both. But we'll start with your right hand.
Okay.
Hold it with one hand, okay? Mm-hmm. Make a little turning motion from your left instep, just a little pressure on your left instep, and that will allow you to take the club straight out to your side. So you're holding the club straight out. Your arm is extended, the club is extended, parallel to the ground.
Okay.
You with me?
Yep, I'm doing it.
It takes a little bit of strength, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're holding the club straight out. Now what I want you to do is just, I call it Coca-Cola, like you're going to drink a Coke. I call it Coca-Cola because Kokyu, Kokyu means breath power in Aikido. But it's making a motion with just in your wrist, like you were going to drink a Coke or a cup of coffee.
My right hand with the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So feel that? You
Yeah.
just make a little, and it's just from your wrist. And that starts to make the toe of the club come up, does it not?
Yep.
And you're working the muscles in your forearm and in your shoulder. If you keep repeating that sort of drinking motion, Coca-Cola motion, okay? Now, keep that motion going all the way up over your head and arc the club all the way over your head, and you'll feel a big stretch in your side. Yeah?
Yes, I do.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, now in Bliss, what we do is this pulsing motion. Take your right hip and just sort of push it out to the side. You kind of go 1, 2,
To the
3.
outside or the inside?
To the outside.
The right
So
hip
that
to the
you're-
outside.
Yeah, you're increasing the stretch from your hip.
Oh, I see.
Feel
Wow,
it?
Yeah. Oh,
Is
you know,
that
I
cool?
really hope that listeners are on commute trains right now doing this with me.
Me too.
People are like, "What
Okay,
the
so you're
heck?"
feeling a big stretch in your side, are you not?
I am.
Yeah. Now, to add a little bit more to it, take your left hand,
Okay.
hold at the hosel of the golf club.
Got it.
So you've got both hands extended out fully, right? Your arms and hands.
Yep.
You got a big stretch in your side.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a few more of those pulsing motions.
To either side or just to the right side? Still.
Just to the right side. And then,
Okay.
of course, you would repeat this on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now you just kind of stand back up, relieve all that, take a big breath. Whew.
I feel it in my shoulders, too.
Yeah, you feel in a lot of places.
Yeah. Oh, I'm taller.
Well, seriously, I mean, we can laugh, but it's true. All right, now come back, give the golf club to your left hand,
Okay.
and repeat that same thing. You're going to extend straight out the target line now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Straight out until your left arm is straight. The club is parallel to the floor, to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And to make that little Coca-Cola motion in your wrist. As you repeat that, if you do 5, 10, 15 of those, you're going to start really strengthening your forearms and loosening your wrists, which is going to give you stronger forearms into the golf ball, but looser, more whippy release action with your hands, okay? Give you the muscles for it. Anyways, now you do a nice big Coca-Cola motion and arch all the way over. Bring the club all the way over your head. So you're arching and you're stretching your left side. You feel it?
Yep.
And a little pulsing motion in your hip, left hip, just out to the side. That will stretch more. From your hip all the way up your sides, through your shoulders, all the way out. A big arc over your body with your golf club.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can reach your right hand out, hold the hosel of the club. Both arms are extended beautifully. A few more pulses.
And make sure you don't squinch your shoulders up into your neck, right?
Yep.
Okay. So keep your shoulders relaxed.
Keep your shoulders down and relaxed. Actually lower your weight into your belly, which will lower into your feet, and you'll feel more balance. Yeah? Feel that? More centered, more balance
I'm with you.
as you do this exercise. And then just release that. Take a big breath. Just sort of feel yourself coming down the center gravity line of your body, down through your belly into your feet. Nice and balanced and lengthened and stretched out.
Now, is this something that I would do on a daily basis in the morning, or is this what I'm going to do when I get to the golf course and I'm loosening up?
Both. Every day. Every day is good, right? Remember I said you can't cram in your fitness?
Right.
And most people don't really get to the driving range or the golf course. I mean, if you get there 2 or 3 times a week, that's a lot. A lot of times it's less than that.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to do this every day, so you're getting your fitness in every day. And then when you go to the range, yes. And sometimes even in the middle of a round of golf, I'll do some of these exercises because, you're standing around too long, and sometimes your muscles get a little cold or a little tired. And so you can sort of re-stretch, warm them back up, and get refocused just by doing exercises on the golf course. It's totally legal. All you've got your body, your mind, and your golf club on the golf course. You can't put a laser on your putter. You can't use your swing jacket. You can't use fancy things on the golf course. So if you've got your golf club that can get you centered, stretched, strong, and reset your timing and your balance, boy, you're way ahead of the game, literally.
Wow. All right, so that was the exercise for lengthen, but you said you had an exercise for B, for balance as well.
Okay, we'll go back to B.
But we're not
we'll go back to B.
Well, we're not going to do that yet because you said we would go back to it. Because here's the problem: we're at our time. We're at 30 minutes here, and so we need to do the exercise for balance, and we need to still go over ISS, and we're going to do that next week on a members only episode. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Fred. This was fun, and we'll get to ISS. And all these exercises are on video, so just so people know, they are available.